Welcome to part 2 of the dining room set tutorial. If you haven't watched part 1, I'll have it linked in the description box below. Let's get into the video. Let's keep working on the dining room table set. In real time, I have taken a break on this for about a month, I believe, because I ran out of space and I ran out of time, so I was working on other videos. So let's review what we have done. The bunny napkins with the white thread have been sewn. The blue napkins have been ironed but need to be sewn. The coasters need to be turned right side out so they look like this. They have been trimmed. And the placemats also need to be turned. So that's what we'll be working on next, is turning. We'll be turning all of the pieces right side out and then giving them a nice press. Some of these napkins need a press too. And then we will get to top stitching. We're almost done. So what device are we going to use to turn them? Does anybody know? Write it in the comments. A la chopstick. All right. So take your fabric. If you've used fusible versus sewn, oh, this opening's not big enough. I'm gonna have to cut this open. So I did not leave myself a big enough opening here. I'm gonna have to cut a couple of threads. It's okay, it's not a big deal. Not too many, just a couple. All right. So I'm going to stick my finger in to the bottom corner. Oh, what I was saying about the interfacing. So make sure that you have the interfacing and a piece of fabric, and then we're turning the other piece. If you have fusible, it's easier because there's no way you're going to screw it up because it's stuck to the fabric. If you don't have fusible and you have sew-in, just be careful you turn it the correct way. But you'll know because then when you turn it, you'll have the interfacing on the outside and you'll know you did something wrong. So I'm just going to use my fingers first. I'm trying to not push too much where I just cut that seam because now it doesn't have a back stitch. So I'm just going to poke the corners out. Now I'm going to use the chopstick and I am going to go ahead. See, it's kind of splitting open here because I cut the threads. It's okay. We will be able to fix it. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and do this. It's the same process for the placemats as it is for the coasters, and I'm going to do this to all of it on fast speed. that took me about 14 minutes to turn everything right side out. I like to do this sitting in the living room or in the car or watching some TV. Like, this is definitely a task that allows you to be able to take your sewing somewhere else. You don't have to do it in your sewing room. So now that I've got this done, I'm going to go ahead and go to my iron and give these a nice press and make sure my opening is nice and tight. And then I'll put a clip or a pin to signify so I know where the opening is. I'm going to do that to all the coasters and all the placemats. It's a little hard for me to film while I iron, so I'm just going to do that off camera. And then I'll be back for us to pick a top thread to go ahead and do the last step on these. Now that we have our placemats, blue napkins and coasters, and white napkins and coasters all pressed, they're ready to be sewn with their last thread. Now I have my thread right over here, right next to my table. I don't have very many. I have a big roll of black, a big roll of white, and then my most commonly used colors. When I first started sewing, I only had black and white thread. Then I upgraded and got some navy and silver. So I only had these 4 threads for probably about 6 months. And then I got these 2 different thread colors for hemming jeans and khakis. One is gold, one is more of a khaki color. And then I got red for when I was working on Christmas projects. Green for Christmas projects as well. And then burgundy, I was sewing burgundy face masks, so I got some burgundy thread. And then the last 2 are just 2 cotton threads, black and white. So I don't have very many colors, and these are my most commonly used colors. Most of the time, these work perfect. I don't need any additional colors. However, there have been a couple scenarios where I do need a different color. And what I did is I got this thread pack from Joann's. It's $35, so it's quite expensive, but it has 26 spools, and then you can use the 60% off coupon, which makes each spool about $1. Now there's not much on each spool because it's only 110 yards, and I believe the bigger spools, I'll look it up, but I believe that these bigger Coats and Clark's ones are 200 or 400. So I wouldn't suggest using this from beginning to end, like inside the, remember our initial sewing of the placemats coasters, you would probably use this entire thing up and then you wouldn't have any left. So I more use this for top stitching and if I need a certain color. So when picking out the color for the top stitching, I would first go to my big spools and see if there's one that I like. Obviously black or white first. I could do this in black and then this in white, and that would be fine. Another way I could go is I could use navy, and the navy would look really nice with the flowers, and it would look nice with the bunnies too, because you have to keep in mind that this is 2-sided. Now something you can do is do a different bobbin and a different top thread. So what I'm going to do is, so another option is to go green, because there's green and then the green leaves. Another option is to go bold. I personally like making it so that you cannot see the thread, but some people do like making it so that the thread is bold. So I could go gold to bring out the yellow, and or I could do from here, I could do like a yellow color. However, what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a different top thread and a different bobbin. So typically the bobbin does not turn out as nice as the top thread. So I like to do the bobbin the color that is more not noticeable, right? So in this case, it would be the flowers. You're not going to notice if something is going to be messed up as much because there's so much going on. So the bobbin I'm going to use is this navy. I'm going to use navy as the bobbin, and then I'm going to use white as the top thread. So that means I'm going to sew bunny side up, and it's going to have the top thread white and the bobbin blue. And that is going to give me, as long as my tension is right, you shouldn't be able to see the white on the back, and you should only see the white on the front and the blue on the back. So let's go to the sewing machine and get it all threaded up. I have my sewing machine loaded with the top thread white and the bobbin blue. I'm going to do a test piece to make sure that my tension is correct and that you will not see the opposite thread. I always talk about using a leader piece. In this case, it's especially important. Let's see how it looks. So that's my top thread. Looks pretty good. Oh, it's kind of bunched up. Let's see. What's going on with my thread here? All right, so there's the top thread. Tension looks good there. Here's the bobbin. That looks pretty good. I'm not gonna mess with the tension. I think it's good. So I'm gonna go ahead, use my leader, and then I have my needle set all the way right. I want a nice tight top stitch. I'm going to start on the opening, the side with the opening, and then I'm just going to do a top stitch all the way around with the bunny side up because this is going to be our white thread. And I have my length set at 2.5. You can increase your stitch length if you'd like, and then we're going to pivot around the corners. So I'll do the first one with you, and then I'll do the rest fast. Let's see how it's looking so far. So here's the back. You can see the white a little, but that's okay. And then on the front, the white looks really good. I'm just adjusting this to make sure that you can only see the top fabric. Coming up at our beginning. Cut the thread. I'm not going to cut the thread so that this can be our lead piece now. Let's take a look at how it looks. You can slightly see the white, but overall it's pretty hidden. It looks pretty good. If you want to, you could do, some people like to do another line of stitching. I like to just do the one. And now this piece is done. I'm going to go ahead and do the other 5 and then I'll be back. That took me about 13 minutes. Now what I have left is the white coasters and the blue coasters and the blue napkins. What I'm going to do is change out the bobbin for white because I have a white top thread. I'm going to go ahead and finish out the whites, and then I will switch to double blue bobbin and top thread and do the blue pieces. The coasters are the exact same concept as the placemats, which makes it super easy. Like whether you're making it from beginning or any step of the coasters is the exact same thing as the placemat. It's just a smaller size. Assembling and top stitching everything. I always cut the threads instead of sewing on top of them because it just gives a cleaner look. And that is what our coasters will look like. Again, you could do a second stitch around, or you could do an X. You could do whatever you want. I'm just going to leave it be like this. Top and bottom thread are both navy, and we're going to get to sewing 2 coasters and 4 napkins. The bobbin thread is pretty low, so I'm hoping I can get this done. We will see what happens. When making a dining set, I definitely prefer to put my tag in the napkin because it's more discreet and it's less likely that the customer will be annoyed by it, like if it was hanging out of the coaster or the placemat, and so they're less likely to cut it off. So I like to put it inside the napkin. I'll show you how to do that. like to wait to put the tag in. This is the beginning, this is where I started. This is the last side. It's just easiest to do it here because you have a little bit of help as this corner is already locked in. So then I take my tag, these will be linked down in the description box below. Fold it in half, it has my information on the back. Then I'll just tuck it in. You can put a clip there if you'd like. I normally just hold it. I can feel it. It's right here. So then I'm gonna keep going. You can hear it. Then I like to carefully backstitch, trying to keep on the same line. And that's how I like to add a tag. It's nice and secure, it's not going anywhere, and it's not obnoxious, it's not hanging out the side of the placemat when the customer sets their table. It's in a discreet location, but I'm still representing myself and I'm still advertising for my products. I'm going to speed it up while I do the rest of these napkins. It took me about 6 minutes to finish sewing those napkins. Now we have everything done. Everything is nice and sewn. We have the perfect dining set, and let's go set the table and see how it looks. Right now there are 2 mega placemats on the dining room table. This allows for 4 people to eat at 2 placemats while also showing the beauty of the table, and it allows for a spot for centerpieces. If you'd like a tutorial on how to make this, please let me know down in the comments below. Let's add some magic. There we are. The great thing about reversible placemats is you could set the whole table to be one color and the whole table to be another color. You have many options. And I've even folded the napkins all pretty. If you are interested in folding your napkins, I would definitely suggest making a bigger napkin. I have made 15-inch napkins and they're a great size for using every day. However, if you are making foldable shapes, a 20 or 25-inch napkin would be a better size to go with. I just love how they turned out, and as you can see, we needed something to put the salt and pepper on, so I have made a just plain white. It's the same concept, it's interfacing and 2 pieces of fabric just to have something to protect the table. And here is what it looks like with the dinner table set. Thank you so much for watching. I know I had a lot of things to share. I just wanted to make sure that I gave you all the information that I had in my head. I'll be sure to put out a separate coaster, placemat, and napkin tutorial that'll be much quicker. But now you will know all the things that are in my brain. They're in your brain now. Have a great day.